All right. What's up?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
No, usually right before you clap, we're like sort of mid-conversation or we're like talking about something and it's usually kind of funny, but usually not something that I necessarily want to talk about on camera.
I wasn't going to talk about it.
I was like, oh great, that's what we're going to talk about on camera.
I wasn't going to talk about No, I know you thought that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that to you. I am so excited. I'm very excited about this podcast. I feel like there's tons to talk about.
Yeah. I know before we started, I asked the boys, I was like, what was the last podcast that aired? Was that the podcast from Cabo? They were like, Cabo. Yeah, it was the podcast you guys did from Cabo. Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to read the comments. Like I've been so MIA on social media all summer, actually.
Was it distributed everywhere? Because I know it was kind of weird that it came out on YouTube like a day early and then...
I know YouTube, and I checked YouTube last weekend, and I saw the comments were all positive. People were like, thank you for your dedication to the podcast. Like, oh, great listening through.
Yeah, and what I loved the most was I really felt like, and maybe it's a Texas thing, I really felt like we ended up with very similar couples.
Yeah.
You know, like we're all very I don't know, maybe it's a Texas thing or what, but
I think it's a lifestyle
couple of things.
Thing.
We a lot of us work with our wives. Casey Donahue more than Josh Abbott, but Josh's wife is involved and works and and then I also think that there's a couple of different kinds of different levels of family men, different levels of husbands.
That I noticed that you're all very involved dads. And that you found a way to, and you enjoy being dads and you enjoy being involved dads and you wish you could be even more involved dads. So it seems like you all sort of feel
that.
Yeah. And feel the need to make up for the fact that you're on the road.
Because it's weird to me because I there's so many things that I keep my mouth shut on because I don't see eye to eye, where like, for example, somebody even, younger than me or maybe a little older than me or my same age where they're like, you get it, right, Steve? Man, we're getting in that age where I'm just tired, and I don't want to be the dick that I'm like, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not tired.
Yeah.
I don't feel old. I don't feel like you feel. Like I know you're expressing, you know what I mean? Like I know you're expressing how you feel, but I also don't want to be a dick and be like,
you want to be sympathetic, but you don't relate.
And I just kind of go, well, oh man, yeah, I get it. Like I almost lie because I'm like, I don't want to do the opposite and be like, dude, you're a bitch, bro. I feel great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that also comes with, I do have friends that go, man, I just want a guy's weekend. I just want, and maybe it's because I do leave without my wife and do things, but I don't understand that feeling of I want to be somewhere without my wife.
Yeah.
I always have the feeling of, I want my wife here, even though we fight sometimes and even though it's hard. And
I think it's what you said. It's your career. You get bro time. Maybe not like the planned bro time. Maybe not necessarily with the group of bros that you or cousins or whatever that you would like. But you get a lot of that bro time energy on the road.
But I don't, and maybe I would change if I didn't get it, but I don't have the urge to be without you.
Yeah.
And then same with kids.
I think it's because you have plenty of shit talking in a car with smelly dudes. Like you don't need any more of it in your life.
Maybe, but same with my kids. I don't want to not be with my kids. And there's times that the kids come and I'm like, God, it's so much harder. Like my life right now is so much harder because the kids are here and my wife's here. But I don't ever look at it as, oh my God, it's so much harder and I wish they weren't here.
Yeah, because they're really cute.
Do you know what I mean? I'm always like, it's harder. I'm glad they're here. I need to have some patience. I enjoy my family being here.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed, Casey and his wife and talking to them and also meeting a couple that is very similar to us.
Yeah.
And then Wade Bowen.
I think Melinda lays down the law way more than I do.
Well, yeah, but she also runs more shit.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it in a mean way. You guys are
laughing.
Wow,
but in all fairness, he also lets her.
Okay, did I get in? Hold on.
You haven't seen the looks around the room.
No, bullshit. Did I get involved with her directing yesterday at all?
No, but in the...
Good fogger, yeah.
In the course of our relationship, it has definitely been a learning process and a give and a take of what your lane is, what my lane is, where are you comfortable letting me lead, where do you want to be the leader?
I let you lead.
Very much a balance in our relationship.
I let you lead. I let you lead. I let you lead in your departments. Right? I do not get in, if Eric is making a graphic for me, I don't get in his way.
Yeah.
Because I know that he's very talented. I know that he knows what he's doing. When it comes to video editing, I don't get in Mason's way. When it comes to the way that Tatiana wants to handle our life, I don't get in the way. As long as it's getting done, I don't need to know how the sausage is made. If the things are done, and then there's just little adjustments as we go, right? Like when Tati started right away in the beginning, it was, maybe don't do that, do this. And it's just a little adjustment to move things on. But I don't micromanage. I don't like to be in people's business.
Yeah.
And I was really, and I think that there was a testament to my leadership. Yesterday we had the opportunity at the studio. Renae and I have a recording studio where we used to film the podcast, and we brought it back here. But it's a really great space. And yesterday we filmed a acoustic session with 5 different artists. I mean, full production, full set.
Holy cow, did we really go through 5? Yeah, we went through 5. Yeah.
But again, everybody looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, are we going to pull this off?" Yes, because everybody has a job.
Yeah.
Right? Tiffany's doing the set. She says she's got it under control. I'm not going to micromanage her. Right? Arturo was working on details, food, all the little things. I knew I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right? Mason was on top of it with Nathan, working on production. I don't worry about him, right?
Yeah.
I know that I have Eric to help out and anything and everything.
Yeah.
I know I have Tatiana, anything and everything. So I know that once I set those pieces up, that I can count on these people to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Right? And it got done. And it was awesome. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. It is our first kind of our own production that we decided to do, and I'm really proud of it.
Oh, Mason, those cameras were beautiful. And I see our podcast
camera shots,
the shots, but also the way those cameras, what I was going to say is that I see our podcast and I think, wow, we've got great cameras. It's a great quality podcast. And then you see our cameras, because we used both. We took the cameras out of here, and you see them next to the cameras that we shot with yesterday. Those cameras
it's a difference between $5,000 and $40,000.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference in cameras.
It makes a difference.
But I will say, and I want to put this out there because Renae and I were talking about this yesterday. It was my production. I was the boss and I was the leader, and I could have given myself any job. I could have been director, right? And I could have been the boss and been the director.
You are still the boss.
Yeah. I was fucking fogging. I was the fog guy. I had a piece of cardboard, and they'd be like, "Steve, too much fog." "Oh, yes, sir." And I'd be like, "Okay."
But you really liked that fog machine.
You were the EP on it.
I mean,
you coordinated everybody to come together on it.
Well, no, yes. But two things. Number one, I told Renae, I go, had I been like, "Hey, listen, I'm directing this thing, and I'm gonna need you to sit on the floor and fog," Renae would have been like, "Go fuck yourself."
This was the conversation we had when we got home yesterday.
I'm telling you, Renae would have been like, "I will be with my kids. You want me to do what? You want me to sit on the floor behind Eric's butt and Tatiana's butt and fog?" Renae would be like, "Ain't happening." But I was explaining to her, part of the secret to my success is I am willing to do anything. Whatever I need to do to make things happen, I will do them.
Yeah.
I swept. Me and Eric taped the stage. I did the fog.
Yeah.
I helped carry barrels in. I was throwing trash away. I mean, whatever I can do to make things successful, I do. And I think that there's people sit there and go, "Well, why aren't I not more successful?" Because you're not willing to do things that other people won't do.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to go, I'll do it all.
Yeah.
Right? Because let's be honest, the fog was something we needed. Fog was something that gave the scenery what we needed.
Yeah.
We need that guy. Somebody has to do it. Right, Eric was busy either being an audience member or running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
That's what I was like. Eric could have been the Fog guy. He was like, no, we needed Eric in the audience.
Dude,
I can't sit in the audience.
But I was just like, when Eric wasn't in the audience, I just look out the window and I just see Eric going by, and then there goes Eric by, and then there goes Eric by. You know,
his position's called a swing.
Yeah, he's fucking everything, right? Yep, yeah. He'll hook up with anybody. You don't care.
I was like, be careful. We've already established on this podcast we are not swingers.
If I might say that just real quick, the rhythm that happens like between Renae, Nathan, and I during the actual scene, it's a beautiful like dance that happens when she's calling shots and then like we're working 4 shots and it's just this like little dance and it just works really well. So it was really nice to work with you in that capacity.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you. You didn't know what you were getting into because you didn't work with me on the Netflix special.
Right. I've done that before with people calling stuff, but it was smooth with you. It was great.
Well,
it's fun.
But we go back to, you know, the opportunities that Renae and I have created for ourselves when, you know, we had a big falling out, Renae and I, in a big fight because she wanted to be more involved with our first production that we filmed. And people at that point were not taking her seriously, you know, and no offense to Renae, but Renae was also green in how to manage people and how to, right? So she was...
And I'm not soft by nature. I'm kind of outspoken.
But she was a little off-putting. So then people would be like, dude, what the fuck's up with your wife, man? You know? And it's like, well, she's helping. She's helping produce. But as we have gone along, Renae has gained experience. Renae has gained confidence. Renae knows what she wants. You know, in addition to her actually going to school for this stuff, she's kind of settled into it. So I thought she did an amazing job yesterday.
Thank you. I also feel like when I say it was a learning curve of us learning to work together, it was not only us learning how to work together, but people learning to work with us. And it was, at first I was just Steve Trevino's wife. And so I had to learn how to politically tiptoe around. I do deserve to be here. I am qualified, not necessarily deserve, but I am qualified to be here. But people think I'm just Steve Trevino's wife and the butt of the jokes,
well,
you know?
And I mean, that's a great topic today is, you know, when you do work together as a couple, having to overcome that. And I think women in general have a hard time in the business world already. But when you're because they look at you and they go, oh, well, it's Steve's pretty wife. Here comes his fucking pretty wife, right? Oh, fucking, you know, with her rings and her Rolex, and, you know, now she wants to tell me what to do. And it's like, well, she 100% belongs here. She went to fucking NYU. She has a degree. You know, even when I would pitch her as like, hey, I want to do a sitcom and I want it to be me and my wife, and they're like, oh, your wife, and it's like, no, it's not a regular wife. This is a wife that was the best actor in the state of Texas. This is a wife that studied at Stella Adler and NYU. This is a wife that
has comedic timing.
I mean, you know, and pretty and all those things. So, you know, I think that there's so many challenges, and even like Casey's wife. She's beautiful. She's a very good looking girl, and Josh's wife. You know,
you almost have you're playing against a stereotype.
Well, being pretty is a blessing and a curse.
Well, no, I didn't even just mean like in how she looks physically. I just mean the performer's wife, right? Like you're often thought, I don't even know what the freaking word is.
Trophy
what do you call?
Wife
No, what do you call the woman
groupie
on the side of this? There you go. That's the word. Like I don't even have that word in my vocabulary. The groupie. You know, you're playing against the groupie stereotype.
No, all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you have to overcome that, and you have, and for me too, like. When I ask, I have to know that the people know you, love you, care about you, and understand these things. Because in the beginning, Renae would be like, well, just tell them. And I'm like, I don't have the career to tell them. So I can't like just be like, hire my wife at that point in my career. But as we grew and as we were doing things on our own, we were able to start.
I mean, can you just be Judd Apatow? And
but I guarantee you that Apatow had to go through that too.
Yeah.
Apatow had to go through.
But she's so funny and talented, Leslie Mann.
She's great.
Yeah, his wife's so funny and talented.
But in the beginning, it was, hey, Renee's going to be a producer, not a director, a producer.
A consulting producer.
Right, consulting producer. Then the next one was, hey, I want her to assistant direct. Do we have confidence that Renae can assistant direct? Then it was assistant direct, boom, direct. And then now when I go, hey guys, this project we're filming, Renee's going to direct it, people go, oh yeah, she should. She directed your Netflix special and she's been around. And I mean, I think it's difficult for women, period.
Yeah.
In the workforce.
Yeah.
But there's also, the stereotype of, oh, I got to deal with, I always tell people, when a man is a good businessman, everybody goes, God, he's a shrewd businessman. He's a good businessman.
Yeah.
When a woman is a good businessman, they're like, that bitch, man, she's a bitch, man. Yeah. So
Taylor Swift actually talks about it really eloquently, watching male counterparts be described with completely different adjectives than she is. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like Tatiana's a strong woman, and Tatiana, like, she'll fucking tell you.
Yeah.
Right. But then people don't like it because it came from a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like the way Tatiana talked to me. Well, what are you talking about? She was straightforward.
Yeah.
She told you exactly what we needed to do.
She was quite direct.
She was very direct. But if I do that, they go, oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right? Tatiana does it, and they go, who's that bitch? She's being bitchy. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're not. She's just being.
She set boundaries?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But it's tough. And I just really enjoyed our week in Cabo.
Yeah.
I love Texas country music. I love any music, if I'm being honest with you.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a big fan of those guys. And I just admire them so much, that their ability to just grab a guitar and sing. I mean, that was what. And then what was great, we did that, white trash karaoke on Wednesday. Oh my God, that's a TV show.
I feel so silly because when we got the schedule, Tatiana was like showing me the schedule of events and they're like themed pool parties, and she was like a white trash pool party, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what to do for a white trash pool party. And then when we showed up and I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, duh. Oh, dude, that's what white trash pool party is.
People were wearing ankle monitors.
My favorite was the woman with the Coke can curlers.
Oh, the beer cans.
The beer can curlers in her hair at the pool. It was so good.
It was so funny because that girl, she goes, she's, the first day she twerked, and we were playing "Baby Got Back," and are we good?
Give me 1 second. Remember what you're starting.
Yep.
Eric, kick the camera.
Way to go, Eric.
We still have those two.
And
I thought you were about to tell me that we forgot to hit record on one of the cameras and that we were starting this episode over again. And I was like, ugh.
Eric, fuck.
Because we've done that before, y'all.
And by the way,
I'm the one who's made that mistake more than once.
Now Rick's going to be like, see, they need me. They can't do this shit on their own. Rick is on vacation enjoying time with his beautiful wife, Gigi. And we called him up and said, hey, are you on this? He's like, I'm actually at the airport. So
I feel so bad because Rick never takes time off. I think this is the one time that I've since we've known Rick, that he's actually taken time off and said, guys, I'm not going to be available. I just feel like we've given him shit, and we'll call him and be like, are you here yet? Are you?
He stepped on the power.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it has an internal battery. You guys are good. Y'all can keep going, and I'll just
Yeah, we were talking about beer can coolers and a white trash pool party.
Yeah, so she probably had to be in her 20s, and we've been married long enough that I could say she had an amazing body. And an amazing shitter. And
do you have to say it like that though?
Well,
because I was on board until you said it that way.
I mean, see or no?
Yeah, that's what the name of the kids.
What do they call it?
What does it stand? Does that stand for something?
I have no idea.
Is that an acronym?
So anyway, so she twerks and dances, and the crowd goes crazy, and everybody was just having a great time. And then the next day, she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey," because I'm hosting the cornhole tournament. She's like, "It's me. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, you." And she was like, I had the camo bikini from. I'm like, "Oh yeah." I go, "Yeah, I do." I go, but the fact that she thought that I'm just supposed to remember her because
there were a lot of camo bikinis at that. Yeah. It was the one bikini that was like triangle top, but it was nude, and then it just had nipples on it. And I you couldn't help it. You just kept doing like one of these things.
So I got there early, and then she comes out of the pool, and I look at Casey and I go, "Is that chick topless?" And then he was like, "Where?" Oh, he's like, "No." And then some of the other musicians would show up, and they're like, "Hey man, what's up? Is that chick topless?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's a bikini." I mean, like every dude.
But there were a lot of those swimsuits that looked like on top of the actual full swimsuit, it was like a thong swimsuit with like hair poking out places.
Yeah, one girl had it like poking out, like coming out of the top. It was hilarious, man. But my point is that these guys would get up there and sing, and yes, it was fun and there was a lot of energy. But then the pros would get up there and sing. Oh, it was real good. And you're like, wow, like you really realize how talented they are.
Yeah.
And for me, like Wade Bowen's voice live is different than recorded.
Yeah.
His voice live is just really, really cool.
Yeah.
And all of those guys, but just watching those guys effortlessly grab a guitar and just start singing.
I didn't realize how many songs Casey Donahue had that I love that we like listen to on a regular basis. I just don't think about it,
Well, but he, it was funny because me and him are so similar.
Yeah.
So similar.
Yeah. Both brash senses of humor.
We're both very aggressive when it comes to our sense of humor.
Yeah.
We both are baseball dads. We're both married to a cast iron of a wife. We're very similar.
Yeah.
And I always say there's two kinds of artists. They're the artists that want to and enjoy being famous. And then there's the artists that do not want to be and do not enjoy being famous. And I would put Casey in that category. He doesn't take himself, very seriously. He doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no ego.
I don't know. I don't think it's like, as you say that, I don't think it's that black and white. Like, I think fame comes with a lot of things. And I think that there are some things you like about fame and there are some things you don't like about fame.
I think Ben Affleck
and that's totally normal.
Ben Affleck goes, the only good thing about fame is I get a good table at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. He goes, that's probably the only good thing about fame.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there are other perks besides that. I
just thought it was so cool, man. As soon as we got to the resort to check the kids in, one of the dudes, more Mexican nationals freaked out about me than the Americans that were there. That's what I thought was cool. Yeah. Dude, as soon as the guy saw me, he was like, "Oh, Steve Trevino," like lost it. And then that dude was so sweet to us, man. So the hotel we stayed at for the kids, you don't walk anywhere. You got to take a golf. They have these little golf cart stops, and there's these people that are constantly cruising the property to take you.
They just zip you
wherever you want. And he was such a sweet guy. He's like, "Just call me, I'll take care of it." And then he'd wait for us. Excuse me. He would wait for us. Like we'd go do something. He'd be like, "I'll be right here." Mr. Trevino, I'll be right here. Problem is that now I have to overtip.
And then I didn't know you overtipped, so I overtipped.
So he's like, "Yeah, when are the Trevinos coming back? That Netflix money is good." Had an absolute blast. I was bummed out because Renae you're finally back.
I am.
But
yes.
You were under the weather. You're so tough in Cabo. Like there was a moment where I was like, just like, if you want to go to bed, just go to bed. You're like, "No, I'll stay here. I can do it." And you stuck it out. But
I stayed till midnight.
We hauled ass back, and then I did a for the Texas Rangers, not the baseball team, the law enforcement.
Yeah.
I always tell people that the Texas Rangers in Texas are the FBI of Texas. That's basically what they are. Very good friend of ours. and his wife, they kind of set it up and had me come out and do it. So they basically fundraise all year.
Uh-huh.
They have money for anything and everything that happens to Texas Rangers. And if the Texas Rangers do not ever use it, then their kids are giving college money when they go to college. So if they're still active duty Texas Ranger, then their kid goes to college, they'll pick it up and pay for it. If a Texas Ranger gets injured on the job or God forbid dies,
the family needs some sort of assistance.
They take care of the family. So it's a really cool charity that helped this group of Texas Rangers.
But also plans like events so that the families have a chance to get together and hang, because these are families that are spending a lot of time apart or don't have a chance. Like you were saying, the way, you and all the performers at Boots on the Beach are all on the same schedule, so you guys never get to hang. These events are an opportunity for like Texas Ranger families to get together and hang out together.
And I don't know what the name of this place was. Do you remember what the name of the place was? Star Ranch.
In Bee Cave, Texas.
And it is like, it was awesome, right? Like an old West.
I want to go back and film something.
They did a little play out there. They did like a little reenactment.
Yes.
And the guns were shooting and popping, and they were like having a shootout. It's
like a Bonnie and Clyde performance in the streets of this like Western town.
And it was cool because you had the little saloon, and you had the church, and you had the schoolhouse, and literally like a little Western town. Well, they put food in every single room.
Each building.
Each building. Like, there's a queso bar in that place, and there's a taco stand over here, and there's barbecue over here. So I got to get the queso bar, and then I started making my way, and then that was it. Couldn't eat anymore. Everybody were taking pictures, talking to people. It was done. Renae was a little concerned because there was kids there, and Renae was like, "How are you going to do this?" She's like, "You have kids and law enforcement, and you got to do stand up." Like,
I was I was a little nervous for you, and then I had to remind myself that you're a professional. And then we started going through jokes, and I was like, bring back the greatest hits. Like, what are all of our favorites that can be clean?
Yeah, Renae goes, do the. I gotta film that again.
The Nutty Buddy joke from your that was from your first Showtime special, Grandpa Joe's Son. That's one of my all-time favorites. I don't know why. That'll always be one of my favorites. The Nutty Buddy joke.
It's just a great story and super funny. So I did that one But I had so much fun because this is the first year that they did a calendar. So all the Texas Rangers had to take pictures, and our friend Joey was Mr. February. So I'm like
but it's not like it's not like a fireman calendar, ladies. They're in like their button-up shirts and their jeans and boots and cowboy hats.
Khaki pants, shirt, tie. Like you could have just used one Texas Ranger. They all look the same. My biggest laugh that made me laugh so hard is that there was two black guys who were Texas Rangers, and number one, they're in the same picture, and then they put a white guy in the middle. And I just thought to myself, how uncomfortable was the photographer that he was like, can we, let's, yeah. Well, there's two of you and one of him. So can we, like... Yeah,
y'all are tall and he's short.
Yeah, let's put the short guy, But, those guys were there, and we just had such a great laugh. That's why I'm wearing the Texas Ranger hat today. And I just want to throw a shout out to, and I wanted to talk to you about this too.
I was so impressed. Like every time I was introduced to a gentleman, he would take off his cowboy hat.
That's how we do it.
Holy cow. Yes. Every single time.
I do it too. When I'm wearing the cowboy hat, that's what you do. Yes. Looking at our friends, and I don't want to give their names, but they're so dedicated to each other. They're so dedicated to their kids. And it's really cool because we have been friends with them since day one of us moving here.
Yeah.
Just to see their dedication and to have an understanding. Me and him have this understanding of like, we touch base, but we also can't hang out all the time because we both know that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We both know that, hey, we're so busy with the kids. we're so busy with marriage, we're so busy with life.
Yeah.
We're still friends.
Yes.
And we still help each other out.
Yes.
On
And if you
hand,
need something, we're here. And
right.
if
But
they
on
need
the other
something, we're there.
hand,
Yeah.
there's this understanding of like, we know how busy you are as a family. So forgive us for not reaching out because you know how busy we are as a family. Mm-hmm. You know, because they are like kids now. It's about the kids.
Yeah.
It's about, I mean, they're not going to be in our home for long. And I just admire them. And I just wanted to also give them that shout out and let the other Texas Rangers know, like, I wish you guys understood how dedicated they are.
Yeah.
To not only, because she serves our community as well. Mm-hmm. She's a judge. So not only are they committed to their jobs and do an amazing job of their job, but they're also amazing family people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to be that because when you are dedicated to your family and then you do isolate yourself. And it is hard to have friends, and it is hard to be out there, you know, hanging out all the time when you're like, hey man, I'm my number one focus is my wife and my kids. And that unfortunately for me takes up almost all my time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice that they did that. The show was amazingly well.
Yeah.
I said shit once the whole time.
I'm curious to talk to our friends and find out if they got any negative feedback.
Oh, I'd be interested. Yeah, that too.
I think I might have, I don't know, because I would ask him, I think I might have overheard an older gentleman being upset about one thing you might have said. And I was kind of like, oh, shoot, I said his name. Bleep it out, Rick. And I could tell he was just like, you know.
What was he annoyed about?
I don't know. I don't even know what it was. And he could have been talking about something else completely different. I was literally just like in passing. So I would be curious to know. But the room seemed to love you.
I do know that I got a standing ovation.
That's true. You did, sir. You did.
That I do know. And
you did. But I think that was also for your generosity.
Oh, maybe. Also.
You surprised them with some ticket giveaways for your show in Vegas. And I think everyone was really excited about that.
I get so...
we got to make sure we put that on the Vegas guest list.
Yes. We gave away 4 tickets and 4 backstage passes to my show in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
Babe, I'm like, I'm going to get $5 for this. Like, I'm always afraid that it's going to fall flat and people are going to be like, why do I want to see this guy? Like, I just saw him, you know?
Yeah.
But it actually turned out to be the biggest fundraise
ticket item. Yeah.
So because so many people were bidding on it, I don't want to turn that money down for the foundation. So I was like, okay, you get one. And I was like, Oprah, you're going to Vegas. You're going to Vegas. You're going to Vegas. And it was really awesome. Oh, Good Day LA would love to have you on Friday.
Woohoo.
We'll see what time that is.
Maybe to postpone my surgery, I'll go to LA with you.
You want to go to LA?
You're going to have to get up early for that. I'll have to send you with the little things
my
to put under your eyes.
If it's even going to work, because
by the time you get there,
I'm flying into Santa Barbara, and I don't even know if I'll have time to drive all the way to LA to get it. So Tati, if you could get into that.
You might have to change your flight to LAX.
And figure it out.
Ooh, I know. LAX. I don't know what's worse, LAX or the DMV.
Yeah. I do want to give it up to our sponsors real quick because I feel like sometimes we get worked up and we start talking and then we don't get anywhere with sponsors to the very end. So let's take a quick break for you guys. Aztec Chevrolet, give those guys an opportunity. Please, please, please. We absolutely love those guys. Download Pick Cherries on your cell phone. That is the best way you can listen to podcasts. You can actually pick segments that you find funny or interesting and share them with friends. Raw Western, we're doing so well. We're kicking so much butt with our rawwestern.com. And then Old Salt Coffee.
Yes.
So please hit those guys up. Give them an opportunity. Let them know that you love us and that you are going over there because Renae and I believe in those.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I'm like this year, the tour. Mm-hmm. Or coming up, the fall.
Yes. The second half of the year.
I'm excited because then I get to give them all new material. Right? Problem is that the next year, it's tightening the bolts on it.
Fine-tuning it all.
It. But this is the time, Houston's coming up. Levity live in Oxnard this week, San Jose next week, Apache Casino in
But
Oklahoma.
Also the set is fun for you right now because you're still creatively like inventing and coming up with new stuff.
Yep. And I love it. I'm excited about it. Can't wait to show all these people on the tour in Milwaukee and to do that up. Did I have the opportunity to talk about being invited to Pittsburgh Steelers practice?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it on a podcast, but we saw on your social media and we were like, that's
I think you did. Why do I think we talked about
I
it?
went straight from Pittsburgh to Cabo, so we didn't talk about it.
Oh.
So,
what did we talk about it on? About you standing behind the guy?
Did we?
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know if we did.
I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, we talked. You know what? When we, because we did a few minutes on the podcast, just you and I before the guest came on, and I think maybe we talked about it.
I was so excited.
Yeah,
but it was like,
I was so excited to talk about it. But let's talk about you directing this deal yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you feel comfortable and not just Steve Trevino's wife?
Yes, I did. I felt comfortable, but it's also very different. I love directing your specials because I know that material so in and out, and so well. And so I just feel like you and I are very creatively, you probably don't feel it because you're on stage, but when I'm back there in the booth calling shots, I feel very creatively in sync with you. And it's so easy
but it's
for
a
me
different thing, music. It's a different pace. It's a different,
Yes.
I mean, they're not, it's going to sound shitty, but they're not doing much. They're straightforward. I know it sounds shitty, but instead, no.
You know what? Five of you, what I do, one guy, that's a lot. But what the five of you do together, it's not that much.
But they're staying in one spot. They're direct. I mean, when it's me, I'm turning, I'm moving, I'm sitting on the stool.
There's so much to make sure and grab. Yes.
And I'm not, when I say they're not doing much, I mean physically not doing much.
Yeah.
They're playing the guitar and they're pretty straightforward.
Yeah. But also with you, I mean, you're a performer too. So even as a director, you and I can have conversations about that are more like a director directing an actor. And I really enjoy those. So I feel like you and I are a cool creative sync.
Yeah, but you had some moments where you're like, hey guys, have fun, more energy,
Oh, sure. Just like making them feel comfortable. What was tricky about yesterday, one is it moves at a different pace. But two, we were doing 5 different artists. Yeah. And ultimately, I would have loved to have known more about those 5 different artists and their music and their style.
Well, how does that help you?
Well, because it's how I lean into yours. Like when we're...
But how does it help you when they're just, I mean, they're singing?
It does. Because as a director, you're looking at the overall creative visions of things. And it's stylistic, right? What they do, what each one of them does has a different style to it. And I wish I had more prep time and had I known, what their set list was going to be.
I mean, I get that because, when I directed, produced, and starred in that music video that we did, Is Anybody Going to San Antonio?
Uh-huh.
In my head, I had it mapped out for the energy, the pace. I knew what I wanted.
Yes.
Right? I wanted it to be a party. I wanted it to look like almost chaos in San Antonio.
Yeah.
But only because I knew those guys, I knew the pace of the music, and I was able to go, this is what I envision.
Yeah, and if you know even the rhythm or the beat to each song, if I knew all of those songs by heart, it would have made prepping the guys for their shots easier.
Eric, what?
Track and then say, hey, at this part of this song,
yes.
I love this shot.
When they say this lyric, Mason, I need you here. There's going to be.
I was mad because a couple of them had smoke in their lyric, and I'm like, Let me know when that's coming. I could have sent up the smoke.
No, but I can prep a camera for the guitar solo if I know it's coming. Just like with your joke, I know when you're going to get on the floor and kick right here center stage, and I have a camera waiting there for you.
And I will say that, like, you know, of course, actors and musicians and comedians, we get so much credit, right? Where people go, "Oh wow, man, you're so great. You're this." People do not realize what these guys go through. I mean,
it's the camera that's the brunt of it.
Dude. I mean, Mason and Nathan were there, first of all, the first day setting up for probably 14, 15 hours.
The day started separate points. We're both sourcing equipment.
Right.
Once we meet in the middle, then that's when like the work works.
And then yesterday, they're on their feet holding a camera.
On their knees to get a shot down low.
I mean,
bent over, setting up a tripod. I mean,
the shitty part
running
is, like,
camera is a super physical
once
job.
Once we wrap, we're like, later, dudes. And then they got to take everything down.
Eric was a huge help with that.
Yeah. You know, you got to break everything down, put it all back in order. And especially in that business, like, you need to have your cables labeled. You need everything, you know.
Tricky part from, I think, Nathan and I's side of things, too, it's like we bring our own kit to the show, right?
Right.
But then we both rent out other pieces. So then it's like there's an issue of
what's yours, what's mine, what's rented.
And also maintaining somebody else's equipment.
Right, making sure you don't screw it up.
You don't want to break a lens.
Yeah, Eric was holding one at one point, and he was like, Mason, like, come here.
Or even yesterday when we're all working in that same studio space, we had a lot of bodies in that studio space and a bunch of Mexican blankets on the floor that we were using as rugs. And there's like, you see like random people moving cameras and you're like, don't fucking touch that. You know?
Yeah, leave it alone. Don't leave it alone. Eric, what was your biggest surprise? Because that was the first production that you were able to be a part of from start to finish, right?
Yeah, so I was just fascinated by like the communication of like how y'all talk about things, what things are called, or like I'm in the crowd but I'm hearing y'all's comments, directing, hearing like what Renae saying, what you're saying. It was like just fascinating to see it all work.
Yeah.
Well, but it's funny because for me, I've and you will too, Eric. Like, the more you're around it, the more you do it, the more you see it. I mean, I was. And a lot of people don't know this. I was security on Cheaters, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there are great stories. Have we never talked about that on the podcast? There's some good. You've told me some good cheater stories. Those are some of my favorites.
Dude, and Arturo's the one that hired me. Because Arturo was a producer on Cheaters, and he hired me to be security. And, man, some shit went down. I'll tell one story.
People got stabbed, didn't they?
Well, I will tell people that it is about 80-20 real to fake. 80% real, 20% fake.
Okay, what blew my mind was what you told me about the screen. When they're like, when they do the playback.
So you know on Cheaters, when they're showing somebody that their spouse cheated.
And they're like, watch this video
this video of your wife cheating on you. Well, we put in like 3 seconds of porn. Just to get them to go.
Like intercut so that you get a reaction shot.
Yeah, just to get the reaction from their face. So when you see them go, that's because.
You're like, whoa, that's way worse.
Yes. So yeah, we would sneak in porn into the video so they could go. Like they're watching it. And they're like,
that is terrible. When you told me that, I was like, that is terrible to do that to somebody. But then it made sense for all those great facial expressions.
It was genius. But I learned so much, like, because when we were at security, people have habits. So like the main investigator, he would call us and go, most likely he has a day off today. He meets his concubine on this day as a habit.
His concubine?
That's what they're called, right? Concubine, or what are they called? Mistress or whatever.
I was like, there are really other words you could use.
Right. So they would call us and be like, hey, we need to be ready, right? So a lot of times we're just hanging out at the studio, and they would, because I'm a curious guy, I'd be like, well, what is this and what is that? And I had a lot of opportunity to be around these camera guys and producers and directors, and like Eric, I was so fascinated and I wanted to learn how they did things. And then even the porn thing, like, what a great trick to get that facial reaction that you need.
That to somebody you're showing that.
Right. So that's how we knew if things were legit. we would get a briefing, security. We'd get there and they would say, hey, this guy has felons. He's a felon. Or we do know that this guy owns a gun. Like, they would give us like the lowdown on, hey, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? My favorite, I'll tell 2 stories. My favorite was we did a bust in a gay bar in Dallas. And when we went in there, they were having Mr. Gay Dallas pageant. So it was all these dudes in thongs, and they're all oiled up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we walk in with cameras, and by the way, very insensitive because a lot of people aren't out. Like, we didn't think, like, oh, crap, we're going to out these people. Right? So we go flying in with cameras, and before you know it, they're throwing their drinks at us. So I get hit by a highball, like boom, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm bleeding, shit's going down. All the gay Dallas dudes are fighting us, but we can't grab them or do anything because they're too slippery. So we can't break shit up. So we're trying to grab them to break it up, and they're just slithering out of our arms, like. And Arturo's like, dude, hold him back. I'm like, I can't. He's oiled up, you know, and he looks like the Olympian. Like, I can't, right? So that was so funny that we were trying to hold these dudes back from fighting, and they were all oiled up. But I will say that one thing I did learn, and here's the big difference between women and men in a fight. Okay. If Mason wants to fight Eric, right? And Eric is mad at Mason, and Mason is mad at Eric.
Yes.
They only want to fight each other.
Okay.
So if I go grab Mason,
I'm not swinging on you.
Mason's not concerned about me. He wants to get him.
Yeah.
Women, on the other hand, will fight fucking everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they like, you go try to break up a woman fight, and she's swinging on you, and she's pulling your hair, and she's biting you, and I mean, me and Art ended up.
I don't know. I've never been on a woman fight.
Dude, we ended up in a SUV trying to break up a fight, and this girl rears back and shoves her stiletto and stabs Art, like that, of her stiletto going into his body, because she was like, "Fuck everybody, you're all gonna die." Like, that's one thing that we did notice, but. We had this.
No, everyone's gonna go watch old episodes of Cheaters.
Did they find me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite
Look for the
story.
Mr. Gay Dallas episode.
So I used to work the door and bartend at a bar called Logan's in Addison. At Logan's is where I would recruit security. Well, we had this dude, big black guy, big old muscles. He's like 6'4", bodybuilder type, right? And his name was Jelani, all right? And Jelani was great to have because he was such a presence. Like, when he showed up, people were like, I'm going to think twice about
It got real.
Shit got real. So it was, anytime we could have Jelani on set, it was perfect because he just was this big, intimidating black dude named fucking Jelani, right? You know, so anyway... We go into the thing and we get a briefing. He's like, all right, guys, this one's fake. This is how it's going to go down. He's going to go, there's going to be a huge...
What do you mean this one's fake?
It was going to be acted out. It was a fake one.
Reenactment.
No, not a reenactment, a fake one. Actors.
Oh, okay.
Right? And what's going to happen is he's going to run to his car and he's going to pull out a gun, and then you guys are going to tackle him. Right? So then they go, here's the gun. Everybody take a look at the gun. And it was a prop gun.
This was pre-Alec Baldwin days.
Yes. Too soon, honey. But it was a completely fake gun, but it looks like a real gun. I mean, so he passes it around, right? And he's like, everybody get a look at the gun. This is the gun that he's going to pull out of the deal. You're in no danger. He knows you're going to tackle him. Like, everybody just do their part, right? So we're like, okay, break. We do one bust that was real before that one because we had to haul ass because it was happening. So we do one bust. Then it's like, okay, guys, we're doing the other one. So we get there, shit's going down, and this dude's like, man, fuck all of y'all.
Yeah.
And then goes to his car, and pulls out the gun. Remember, we all saw the gun. We've all been told it's fake. We're all supposed to tackle him.
Yes.
Jaylani, 6'4". Mama didn't raise no fool. Mama didn't. He just started running. I ain't getting shot out here, motherfucker. Mama didn't raise no fool. And just takes off running, dude.
That's not the gun.
And everybody was like, cut. Jelani, he's behind the car. Man, what the fuck? And we're like, dude, it's a fake gun.
Clearly someone was not paying attention during the briefing.
So you have no idea how many times the next day when we were back on set watching Mama Didn't Raise No Fool. Oh, yeah, because we were filming. Dude, he like freaking takes him. Mama didn't raise no fool. I ain't getting shot up in this motherfucker, not for you. Like, I mean, just fucking dude. And all of us were like, oh my God, cut. Like, not part of the plan. Right? But it was absolutely hilarious. But my point to you, Eric, is that, you know, every experience that I have had in production, I've learned a little more and a little more and a little more. And I also encourage people to ask questions and be that sponge and learn how to do things, because, you know, I now know what, you know, I want a 2-shot here. I want a 1-shot. I want it, you know, chest high. I mean, you know, you start to learn kind of the lingo and what you're looking for and the capabilities, right? Like Renae knows that she couldn't ask Mason to go to that side because then he's in a shot, right? Or if I do want him to go to that shot, we got to plan it so that I know not to go to this camera, right? So all the experiences that I've had in my 20-something year career has gotten me to a point where I understand how things work and what are the capabilities and how we can do things. And, you know, but also different than you, I have a vision. Yeah. I can picture things. I can see things. I can imagine what something tastes like, right? If somebody goes, oh, have you ever had, you know, apple pie and cheese? And you're like, apple pie? You know that's a thing, right?
No.
I've heard of it, yeah. I don't know where that's a thing.
Tati, you know that's a thing, right? Apple pie with cheddar cheese?
Heard of it.
Yeah. But I can
like
envision
nacho cheese drizzled on your apple pie? No, thank you.
No. Like American cheese or cheddar cheese, like grated, they put on top of
I could see like good, sharp
That's what it, yeah.
American cheese.
But I can envision what that tastes like without having to taste it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a Midwest thing. Yes. Well, great podcast. I miss you. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you.
You know, somebody said that we went live today. Somebody was like, man, Steve's aging. Well, I have a daughter and these white hairs are all hers. And I don't know if I'll ever be the...
I'm glad you have someone else to blame them on besides me now.
Well, I don't know if I'll ever be the paint the beard guy.
Don't do it.
I don't think I'm that. I'm not that guy. I don't.
Don't do it.
I like the salt and pepper.
You know what? It's too obvious when they do it, because then it's like jet black. There's no way to just
like paint it on their skin, like you can see the line.
Then you're just, or even if you just try and do it like in Aries, then you just have like jet black patches. Like there's just not a good way to make it look natural.
I mean, I hear there is now. I mean, you brush it in or something. I saw.
Gray looks so good sometimes though. Like, did y'all see Nathan's beard yesterday?
People listen when I talk.
I don't know. I know that you say that, Mason. I didn't notice Nathan's beard yesterday.
No, look. I don't. It doesn't bother me. I don't look in the mirror and go, oh fuck. Like it just looks like me. Yeah. You know. And I like the salt and pepper on the hair. That's getting a little like soap opera hair. That's nice. You know, getting that good soap opera hair. But we'd love to have you guys on tour. Please come visit us. Vegas, December 13 and 14.
Yes.
Captain Evil will be there. We will be at the craps table. We'll have a great time.
At least you will. Yep.
And I'm so excited because literally next door to me in the arena, I'm in the David Copperfield Theater. In the arena, Cody Johnson and his band is going to be there. So I'm so excited to be able to possibly
kind of hang out and visit with them.
And hang out with Cody and the team over there, Kojo. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. We love you. Stephen Captain Evil Podcast. Please watch Simple Man again.